Hello, everyone, and good kind of afternoon for me. I'm actually in Europe, but good afternoon. I am Adam Samuel. Welcome to Adam's TV Podcast. I am your host, Adam Samuel. Today, we are talking about America's Got Talent Week 2. This is week 2, right, Eric?
Mm-hmm.
All right, and joining me for this recap is my co-host, Eric. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm wearing my Apple icon shirt, which has all the different Mac icons because this was WWDC week and lots of good Apple announcements. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about America's Got Talent, which was so much better this week than last week.
Yeah, we are filming at a bit of a different time. We usually film like I said, I'm not in my usual studio. I'm actually overseas in Europe right now. So for me, we are filming this. It is almost 2 o'clock. What time is it for you back in the States?
It is 6:48 a.m., which
Yeah.
means
So
in about an hour I'm leaving for work.
all right. Well, let's talk some America's Got Talent because that's what we're here for. So like I said, this was week 2. Eric, you enjoyed the show better than last week?
Yes, and I will say why later, but there's lots of reasons why. I thought the talent was overall better this week. Um, for a couple acts, I liked this week a lot. So,
For me personally, I'm not actually that high on this episode. I watched all the contestants, and there was only one or two for me that I think kind of really stood out the most. But I think I'll ask. This is a better question, Eric. Do you think we saw the winner this week?
possibly.
I'm excited to hear that. But before we do, another question. Eric and I, we do this every episode of America's Got Talent coverage. We each get one golden buzzer. So, Eric, did a contestant this week get your golden buzzer?
Now that I think about it, quite possibly.
For me, no. I'm going to hold on to it. How many more weeks of auditions do we have?
5. So I should hold on to
5 more? There's 7 weeks of audition.
Yep.
Oh, dear God.
Oh dear God is correct. But I'm thinking if I'm using it based on an act that got me genuinely excited for the season, I'm gonna use it today.
All right. Well, I guess we should get right into these contestants, should we? Shall we?
Let's do it.
So the first contestant we have of this episode is Jonathan Burns. He is a contortionist. He kind of is wheeled out on stage by Terry Crews, and he's inside of this bag, and he kind of unzips it, and he starts doing things. Eric, can you describe this act for me?
Um, Not really. I mean, it's not my thing at all. I can't really watch contortionists for some reason. I just like it's it's just not my thing at all. It kind of grosses me out a little bit. Um, I like that he didn't take it seriously like other contortionists do, because that just creeps me out when they take it really seriously. He was doing it like as a joke, which I enjoyed more.
Yeah, contortion has never been my favorite. I don't think the only time we've ever had a contortionist go far in the
With Sophie
competition
Dossi.
was Victor Key.
Oh, and Sophie Dossi. But
Sophie Dot. Yes, I guess those two. Did either of them make top 5?
no, I don't think so.
Yeah, for me, I think a contortionist needs a lot more than just contortion. Like when you think of those two examples you just said, Sophie had her arrows, Victor did juggling. Like there's kind of more to it than just the baseline of contortion. Do you think Jonathan Burns has a shot of going anywhere?
No.
Yes. Do you think he'll make it through the next round? Maybe.
Quite possibly. I mean, we've seen lots of things make it through the next round.
All right. Well, do you have any?
Made it to round 3, so this
Who
guy
did?
can.
Who did?
Jumbo Dump.
Oh, right, yeah. I remember those people.
I know you.
Let's talk. Do you have any final thoughts on this contestant?
Not really.
All right. Well, let's talk about Benicio Bryant. He is a singer. He's a young singer. Hello, everyone, and it's not technically good evening, actually. It's good morning for. Well, all right. Let's restart. We're restarting. Okay. I messed that up. Okay. Don't add that. All right. Here we go. Hello, everyone, and good kind of afternoon for me. I'm actually in Europe, but good afternoon. I am Adam Samuel. Welcome to Adam's TV Podcast. I am your host, Adam Samuel. Today we are talking about America's Got Talent Week 2. This is week 2, right, Eric?
Mm-hmm.
All right, and joining me for this recap is my co-host, Eric. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm wearing my Apple icon shirt, which has all the different Mac icons because this was WWDC week and lots of good Apple announcements. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about America's Got Talent, which was so much better this week than last week.
Yeah, we are filming at a bit of a different time. We usually film like I said, I'm not in my usual studio. I'm actually overseas in Europe right now. So for me, we are filming this. It is almost 2:00. What time is it for you back in the States?
It is 6:48 a.m., which
Yeah,
means
so
in about an hour I'm leaving for work.
all right. Well, let's talk some America's Got Talent because that's what we're here for. So, like I said, this was week 2. Eric, you enjoyed the show better than last week?
Yes, and I will say why later, but there's lots of reasons why. I thought the talent was overall better this week. Um, for a couple acts, I liked this week a lot. So,
For me personally, I'm not actually that high on this episode. I watched all the contestants, and there was only one or two for me that I think kind of really stood out the most. But I think I'll ask. This is a better question, Eric. Do you think we saw the winner this week?
possibly.
I'm excited to hear that. But before we do, another question. Eric and I, we do this every episode of America's Got Talent coverage. We each get one golden buzzer. So, Eric, did a contestant this week get your golden buzzer?
Now that I think about it, quite possibly.
For me, no. I'm going to hold on to it. How many more weeks of auditions do we have?
5. So I should hold on to
5 more? There's 7 weeks of audition.
Yep.
Oh dear God.
Oh dear God is correct. But I'm thinking if I'm using it based on an act that got me genuinely excited for the season, I'm gonna use it today.
All right. Well, I guess we should get right into these contestants, should we? Shall we?
Let's do it.
So the first contestant we have of this episode is Jonathan Burns. He is a contortionist. He kind of is wheeled out on stage by Terry Crews, and he's inside of this bag, and he kind of unzips it, and he starts doing things. Eric, can you describe this act for me?
Not really. I mean, it's not my thing at all. I can't really watch contortionists for some reason. I just it's not my thing at all. It kind of grosses me out a little bit. I like that he didn't take it seriously like other contortionists do, because that just creeps me out when they take it really seriously. He was doing it as a joke, which I enjoyed more.
Yeah, contortion has never been my favorite. I don't think the only time we've ever had a contortionist go far in the
With Sophie
competition
Dossi.
was Victor Key.
Oh, and Sophie Dossi.
Sophie Dossi. Yes, I guess those two. Did either of them make top 5?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, for me, I think a contortionist needs a lot more than just contortion. Like when you think of those two examples you just said, Sophie had her arrows, Victor did juggling. Like there's kind of more to it than just the baseline of contortion. Do you think Jonathan Burns has a shot of going anywhere?
No.
Yes. Do you think he'll make it through the next round, maybe?
Quite possibly. I mean, we've seen lots of things make it through the next round.
All right. Well,
Jumbo made it to round 3, so this guy can.
Who did?
Jumbo Dump.
Oh, right, yeah. I remember those people.
I know.
Let's talk. Do you have any final thoughts on this contestant?
Not really.
All right. Well, let's talk about Benicio Bryant. He is a singer. He's a young singer. I believe, actually, he's been around the block.
But everyone's a ringer at this point, so I don't really dwell on that.
I feel like at this point, it's more of a novelty if an act comes along that actually
is not a
ringer and actually did go through the whole process and wasn't just invited on.
Yep.
But that's what the show has kind of become. But tell me a little bit more about the singer, Eric.
Well, I like him a lot. He's really good, I think. I mean, he has a great voice, great tone. Delivered the song, clearly understood what he's singing about. I think he could go really, really far.
How old is he? Is he 15?
He's 14.
He doesn't. He looks older. I mean, like
Yeah.
he acts a little older. Maybe I don't know, but he performs the joke. I thought it was pretty good. Like above average for what we kind of usually expect from singers. I don't think he's in the top tier, but he's in the above average tier, I would say.
For me, he's actually better than tonight's Golden Buzzer, I think.
Would this be the contestant who would get your golden buzzer?
Nope.
Well, for me, Benicio, I think he's got a chance of having a run at the show. I don't think he can win. I think it's going to, at this point, I think he's the best chance is maybe finale night, but I see him maybe getting through one round of the live shows and then probably being cut at that point. But what do you agree?
I tend to agree, yeah.
I mean, he seems like very talented. Maybe he could do something like big, but I feel like for a contestant in this kind of, what's the word? The category of like the archetype is what I was thinking. Like it usually goes one round and then it doesn't usually go much further. But maybe he'll be different.
I mean, they pushed him hard, so I'm thinking that there's a good chance he could make the finale. I don't think he's gonna win, but he could go really far.
Yeah, we'll see. He's one to look out. He, I think, is one of the few takeaways. Like every episode, I think there's usually like
4 takeaways this episode, and he is one of them.
We'll see. But yeah, he's one of them for me. Do you have any final thoughts on him though?
Nope. Can't wait to see more though.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Emerald Bellis. I think Bells. How do you pronounce this, Eric?
I don't know, but I'm gonna put a bell sound effect in here. Pause.
Ding.
Okay.
All right. Well, they're a dance troupe. Is that what you categorize these guys as?
Yeah. I mean, my thing about it is that it was impressive to watch once, but it's not $1 million act by any stretch. Get it? Stretch.
Yeah, well, they kind of talk about how they're going to be doing like a high kick, I think is what they were saying.
It was high kicks. They were in total synchronization, which was really cool to watch, but it was really cool to watch once.
It seemed like the Rockette, I can imagine like my producer brain of what I'm thinking, why a contestant, like they invoke the Rockettes. Like you look at them, they're doing the Rockettes move. Like it's literally like
the high kicks.
It's the same exact thing. But I do think when I was watching that at the start, I was thinking, and they were doing the kicks like right off the bat. I was like, is this the entire act? Is it just going to be like a minute of them doing that? Which, I mean, is cool and impressive. But at some point, where's the variety? And just as I was thinking that, they kind of did start switching it up. Impeccable timing, very, very talented group. But this is not a winning act on America's Got Talent. This is not an act that I think can win because of just how this show kind of is. It doesn't favor these kinds of acts. I don't think we've ever had like a dance troupe win on America's Got Talent. Maybe Britain's Got Talent, but I don't think on America's Got Talent. Do you think? Am I wrong?
I agree. Yeah.
The next act we're going to talk about is the Masudi brothers. Am I correct? Is that the pronunciation?
No, I don't know if it's pronunciation, but I don't know what it is.
All right. Well, they are a trio of hand acrobats. Acrobats? What's the word?
And acrobats.
All right. Well, it's traditional what America's Got Talent usually does. They have these people. These kinds of contestants are every season. This is an act that it's not a testament to their talent. It's more a testament to how America's Got Talent, the competition show, is run. But they do these. They're kind of impressive. Some of the things they can do, like with these like acrobatics. I don't even know the right word.
It's hand balancing is what it was.
Hand balancing. The closest thing I've seen to an act like this in the past that I remember really rooting for was the Christophe brothers. I said the Christophe brothers, but yes, Christian Sonev also. The Christophe brothers.
The dog involved, but dog involved made it better.
Yeah, the Christophe brothers also, they added humor to it. Like they made it really ridiculous, and it was one of the funniest things they did. And I think they like did a routine to Bryan Adams theme, and it was just like silly and like over the top, like ridiculous. And they totally embrace it. I think if you're going to go for a serious aspect to it, it doesn't work. And I feel like people aren't motivated to, you're just going to be an act that's kind of lost in the shuffle. You need to have that something extra to kind of propel yourself forward. So that's just kind of how it is with these kinds of acts.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any other thoughts on them?
Not particularly.
I
mean, I will say that it was cool to hear "Carry You" by Union J as the background music, which is kind of sad that that's more memorable to me than the act itself. But
all right, well, let's talk next about another name that I'm going to have very much trouble pronouncing. Karamijit and Karawijit Singh, I think. I'm probably saying that wrong. I'm sorry. They are a danger act from India, and their talent is very, very strange. Could you explain to me what it is?
I can, because I saw Danger Act and I'm like, I'm not watching this. I saw that they basically, one of them put salt in their eyes and there are watermelons involved and sledgehammers. I'm like, yeah, this looks really stupid. I'm not gonna watch it.
The only time someone putting salt in their eyes really works for me
Dustin's Dojo.
with Dustin's Dojo. But he's, first of all, one of the guys is freaking huge. Like, he's a giant. Like, even next to Terry Crews, he was this monster of a man. Like, he's this huge guy. And their act is kind of, I saw that act. Eric, I guess, didn't watch it, but I did. And they basically, it reminded me, there was an act like this on Britain's Got Talent a few years ago. Not a few years ago, probably like closer to 10 years or something. It was this guy with a samurai sword, and he would cut things in people's mouth like they were holding cucumbers. Do you know who I'm talking about?
No.
Well, if you're watching this, if you're one of our viewers and you know, let us know in the chats. I don't remember what his name was. He demonstrated all these things, and then he put like a cucumber in a guy's mouth, and he wiped it here and here, and it was like really this cool danger act. This is kind of what that was, but I think a little bit of a lighter version of it, if that makes sense, where basically the really big guy is lying on the floor, and they kind of arrange coconuts around him, and also a watermelon by his head. And then the guy is blindfolded, and he takes a sledgehammer and starts whacking all the things, which is, first of all, how do you discover that talent? How does that happen?
A lot of stupid trial and error, I guess. I hope there's no error, because there's error.
No error.
A lot of trial, no error. Trial, like no error.
Yeah, but nothing ever goes wrong on these audition shows. Have you noticed that? Like, they never show something going wrong. Like, it always goes right.
Of course not, because that's painful to watch if something goes wrong.
No, but it always then goes wrong, like in the live shows, like in the first live shows.
If it ever does, yeah.
If it ever does. But anyway, I mean, I don't really know what to make of this act. I honestly, I don't see how this goes
any further.
I honestly probably would have given it a no because of it. What about you?
Well, I would give every danger act a no, but so.
That's not fair. Come on.
Fine, it's not fair. I don't know what I'd give them though.
You can't give an act a no if you don't watch them.
Correct, and that's why I'm not going to give them a no.
All right. Well, let's. Do you want to move on to the next act?
Let's talk about Kids Bop.
Let's talk about G-Force, which is I think it was 4 or 5 girls. I think 4 or 5 young girls, and they are they're a girl band. I don't know what the word is. A girl group. What do you?
Girl group.
Yeah, and they actually have an original song, which, by the way, like, they didn't write that song, right?
I'm assuming not.
Yeah. Have these people, like, I didn't do any research. Have they been on other shows? Like, are these? Because this felt a little bit like a Plant act. But
seems like it to me, but I don't know.
Because the fact that they have like an original song, because like maybe this is just me, like on a personal level, like I would not physically be able to write a song like at the age that these people are, and like it not be it would be an incoherent mess. So I have to assume that these people kind of have been with an agent or something that's kind of like promoting them. But for me, this came across as very, very Kids Boppy, like very much so.
I was trying to figure out what it was, and then I saw MJ's blog wrote Kids Bop. I'm like, yep, that's it. That's exactly what it is, and I couldn't think of a better way to put it, so I'm just plagiarizing from MJ.
But the thing is, there is a market for an act like this. Like the
Oh,
Kids
totally.
Bop is very successful. The thing is, I don't think, first of all, I don't want to sound harsh, but I don't think a lot of people are going to be maybe voting for an act like this unless there's something kind of big that maybe happens later on.
Yeah.
But I can see these girls being successful. I don't think they will be successful success on America's Got Talent is very different from success off
on the
America's
road.
Got Talent.
Yeah.
So, like if they're just kind of using this as the platform to kind of make something for themselves, I mean, they're probably successful. But the one big thing that kind of stood out to me, which kind of made me like a little bit die inside, is they all have like nicknames.
Yeah.
And one of them is like OG, and they call it like they mess up the pronunciation of OG, like what it usually means. And when they said it, I was just like, that's not what it means. It was like, I think it was like she's overly prepared or something, but it's OG, it's like original gangster, like,
Whatever.
They
Honestly,
messed up
the
the
thing
rest.
was the fact that they all got individual introductions and everything. That to me screams these girls are important this season. You need to watch them and vote for them. That's what it screamed to me.
I
But
don't think so.
I think
didn't get that vibe.
they gave him a lot of
Screen
time.
time.
A lot of screen time, and like a big introduction, and this clearly differentiated the girls. Sort of, not really. I mean, it didn't succeed for me, but yeah,
I
they
don't know.
hype you.
I mean, here's the thing, that this is just something I was reading online in the little bit of research I got to do about some of these acts. Was this lip synced? Which is just something I heard other people were talking about.
I don't think they allow that on America's Got Talent.
I don't know. Was there editing or something? People were calling them out like, I don't
Well,
know. This is
I
just
know
me
that
like,
whenever they're harmonizing on these shows on X Factor and Got Talent, but those are to a track.
all right.
Well, those are all live.
Okay. What would you say is the best case scenario for G-Force on their America's Got Talent run?
Semifinals.
I think so too. I don't think I don't see America voting for an act like this. Maybe I'm wrong, but from what I've seen in the past, this is like a mid-level kind of act that I don't think has what it takes to be pushed towards the front runner. But the fact you do point out that they do spend a lot of time on them, which maybe leads me to believe that they at least make the live shows.
Oh, they make the live shows, definitely.
I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see. That's all I can really say.
Okay.
All right. Well, otherwise, do you have any final thoughts?
Nope.
All right. Let's talk about Adeline Bates, who is a singer. She has this whole story that she started out as a singer. I think she was in a group. Correct me if I'm wrong, Eric.
I don't know.
Yeah, and she was kind of she was in a group, and she left the group because she got married and have kids, and now she kind of wants to get back into music. And every episode, Eric, there's one of these moments where it brings me back to those the SNL skits of when they're like, "Wow,
you're good."
It's not so much that. It's when they show like Howie Mandel freaking out about things, and it's like, look how surprised Howie Mandel is, even though he's seen this stuff a lot. And she comes out on stage, and she's got like this dress where it's kind of like I don't want to say Phantom of the Opera. I want to say Two-Face, but a little bit,
Yeah.
but not like the crazy Two-Face.
I know what you're saying, like half man, half woman, basically.
Yeah.
I found this really gimmicky.
Yeah, this was one of those moments that's kind of built for those Howie Mandel to freak out moments on SNL, like what they do with it. He's like, "Oh my God, that's so crazy," which, I mean, this goes back to what I've said in the past, and Eric has made fun of me for this comparison. It's like you're taking all the goods and you're kind of spilling it out in the first round. Like you're showing everything what you can do, and now the thing is, I think for this contestant, it's that from this point on, because she has shown this gimmick, I don't think it will work a second time, and I think people will grow tired of it. Do you maybe agree?
I totally agree, and I'm not going to make fun of you for that because I totally understand what you're saying.
This is what happens with a lot of acts, where they show everything too early.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think what she needs to do, this is my advice, just sing regular. Like lose the entire thing and just go as like a regular singer. I think the producers looked at her, like from the crowd of singers they probably were thinking about putting on their show. They picked her because she has this gimmick. She has a gimmick. I think what she really needs to do at this point, I don't know if it's a smart thing. I think she needs to put her foot down and say, like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go as me.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Agreed.
But that never works out for the contestants. As many people who have complained on social media have said, like, if you don't play by the producers' rules, you're just not on the show.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you have any final thoughts on them? On her? I'm sorry.
No.
All right. Well, let's move on to, I'm going to mispronounce this wrong name. The last name, I'm sorry. Ryan Niemiller?
Sure.
Did I get it right?
I think.
Nine?
I don't
All right,
know
well,
for a fact.
Well, this is a comedian. I think he was born with a disability with his hands. They're kind of a little bit different. I don't even know. Do you know the correct term to use for
I
that?
don't. Disability in both arms is what it said. Okay. So here's where I get to talk.
Go ahead.
Okay. So for me, first of all, easily the best comedian on America's Got Talent since Julia Scotti.
You're like, what are you? Oh my God! What happened?
Already. Best comedian I've seen in 3 years on the show.
I'm trying to think who else could be close to that. I don't even remember anyone. I remember Vicky, who he beats.
Samuel, who he beats.
Who was from that middle
Preacher
season?
Lawson, who he beats.
Who?
Preacher Lawson, who he beats.
I don't know if I would. That would be close for me. I don't know. But go on.
Close at all for me. I laughed a lot during this set. I thought he was really funny. And I hope he goes really far. And yeah, I'm just gonna say it now. He's my golden buzzer.
He is your golden buzzer?
Yes.
You were giving the golden buzzer. This is Eric's. We need like a sound effect. So Eric is going to, and now there's going to be a golden buzzer. And he presses it, and now there's confetti. Yeah. All right. So
let's see.
We need to have 2 golden buzzers, I think, this season, Eric.
No.
All right. Well, do you have any other thoughts on him?
I have plenty of other thoughts on him because I wrote an entire article about him that I published last night for my job because obviously he has a disability. But more importantly, this was how I want to see it presented on the show. If you look at this and you compare it to last week's, it is night and day. This one was so much better than last week that if someone watched these 2 auditions back to back from disability community, you wouldn't believe it's the same show. For example, he talks about representation and how like he never saw someone like himself on TV. He talks about, his act is just hilarious, and then all the judges' comments are focusing on how funny he is and not on his disability, which is really great to see. It's exactly what I wanted to see. This is a clear return to form, and I'm just really happy that he's so good.
So I'm going to say for my piece, I really enjoyed his act. I didn't fully laugh, but I did kind of like smile a little bit.
Quite a lot.
It's rare for me to usually laugh at America's Got Talent acts. But the thing is, I enjoy it, Ryan. I think he 100% is deserving of the praise. The thing is, I think moving forward, is his act going to kind of continue this format of kind of just I don't know how to say this, but I don't want his act to just be all about disabilities.
It's not comedy.
I know. That's what I'm just saying is, go on, though.
I mean, people who look at his website, he talks about lots of other things in his acts, and he said specifically he doesn't want to be pushed into the novelty act section where he just talks about one thing.
But that's exactly what America's Got Talent producers love to do.
I don't think so. I'm hoping that they'll let him talk about other things.
All right. Well, I really enjoyed Ryan. He is, I believe, one of the other takeaways from this episode. I think there's only, in my opinion, there's one other takeaway from this episode, and I think, yeah, those are in my opinion the 3. But otherwise, do you think Ryan can win?
I'm not sure. Just by giving him the golden buzzer, I'd love to see a comedian win the show, and he's the first one that I think actually made me laugh in a couple of years. So I'm hoping, but I don't know.
Have there ever been a comedian winners of America's?
Nope.
Not ventriloquists. Those don't count.
I know. There's not been a comedian to America's Got Talent.
but Britain's Got Talent has had
Last year.
one.
Last year,
Just
last
one.
guy.
Is he the only one?
Yeah.
Why do you think comedians kind of struggle so much on these shows?
I don't think they struggle actually. I mean, you've seen a lot of comedians as runner-up on these shows, but I'd like to see one win.
All right. Well, let's move on to the other contestant that I believe is the takeaway from this episode. These are the three. I believe it was Ryan,
Benicio.
And who?
Benicio.
Oh, and Life Balance Kids,
Yes.
who we're going to talk about now. They were So I remember Life Balance. Were they Tyra Banks's Golden Buzzer? So these are the kids edition of this act.
Yeah.
Is that correct? So is it the previous contestants' kids, or is it like a group that they organized?
It's a group they organized and they choreographed.
Yeah. So I loved their run the previous season. I remember they had like an issue during like the live show.
And they did showed a rehearsal, but this is a highly technical act.
Very technical act and very, very impressive and very hard to pull off. And these guys are really good. If I was to give this episode a Golden Buzzer, it would be this act, but I'm going to hold on to it for another week or two. But yeah, these were the closest.
Absolutely fair.
They are very, very. It's. I don't know if this is like an hour-long act, but it's really impressive. Like it's just visually like it's like watching fireworks, and now you're going to include like fireworks going off.
No, I'm not. I think it's much cooler than that because it requires a lot of skill to pull this off. Like as I think Julian said, like you have to be in the right spot when your lights go on, and it's a lot of work, and it's really cool to see.
The thing is, they are like the opposite of the singer we talked about before, where it's kind of this act is just full of potential. Like there's just so much you could think to do of. Like they haven't put themselves in a box. Like they are just, you could look out into the horizon and there's so many different paths for them to take. So much creativity you could put into this act. And for me, they are one of the few acts this season that I'm actually a little bit excited for.
I'm very excited about them. So the coolest thing is like, on Britain's Got Talent, they had a diversity, which is the group that beat Susan Boyle, dance troupe, and they had a kids edition last year. And I think Life Balance Kids are better. I think this is a really cool act. They're ringers, obviously they're ringers, because they're
everyone in this episode was a ringer. There was not one contestant I think who might have actually auditioned like on the line.
But they were my second favorite act of the night by a mile.
Yeah, for me, I would put them number one, honestly.
And that is totally fair for you. But for me, they're number two, and then there's a huge gap for everyone else.
All right. Well, otherwise, like I said, these are 2-hour shows, and there's very few acts. I said this last time, but are you starting to notice that, or is that just me?
I'm starting to notice it, but I'm minding it because we get more time with each act that has a shot. I like that better.
All right. Well, let's talk about next Nicholas Wallace, who is a magician, and he is in the similar vein of the Haunting from Britain's Got Talent, kind of a little bit, and also, oh my God, what was her name? The Sacred Rihanna.
No, actually, you know what this act is? I've seen this. Well, the trick itself was identical to some tricks I've seen before.
The thing is, I was watching this act, and I was actually thinking right about the contestant that was the runner-up on Britain's Got Talent this past season, which is a weird coincidence. Like,
not a coincidence at all, because it's literally. I mean, I loved X on Britain's Got Talent because of her presentation and because of that surprise reveal at the end, which was just glorious to see. That he pulled that off and no one knew it was him. I loved that on Britain's Got Talent. I wanted them to win. But the thing is, the trick itself is very easy to pull off. You can actually buy the trick in a store. I know what it's called. Google the Mentalist chair if you want to know how this is done. It's literally a trick you can buy prepackaged in a store.
I could probably figure it out. And honestly, that for me made this act 100% underwhelming. Yeah. This act took a long time, and I feel like very little happened. And what did happen was very easy to predict. I would have honestly said no to this act.
I would have as well. because I know how the trick is done, and it's literally just it's the chair. I mean, Google the chair, and you can figure out everything. It's so easy.
This is, like I said before, there's like the singer who kind of took all the goods and kind of tossed it out right away. Light Balance has a lot to show off. I think Nicholas is a case study of not doing enough and kind of holding back too much. Like Light Balance was holding back, but they were still doing something impressive. Like this was not, and it wasn't impressive. It was kind of nothing. There's somewhere in the middle between like there's the singer Adeline, I think was her name. Am I correct? Then there's Nicholas, and then Light Balance is kind of right in the middle in terms of how to do an audition right.
Yeah.
Like there's doing too much, there's doing too little, and doing just exactly what you need to do. And yeah, I don't think he deserved a spot to move on. Honestly.
I don't either because the presentation, I've seen the exact presentation before, basically with several other acts, and I've seen the trick before with several other acts, so not impressive to me.
All right, well, let's move on to the Golden Buzzer act, obviously, because it was last. Always, you can always tell.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Well, I didn't put my Golden Buzzer last.
Well, that doesn't count. You already know what happened.
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
All right. Well, it's Joseph Allen. He's a singer-songwriter. He performs a song. It's an original song, and this really reminded me of another act that was not even shown on Britain's Got Talent, but was I just saw a YouTube video of his audition. He was not actually featured because it was actually, ironically enough, I think it was I don't remember his name. He was a prankster who appeared on Britain's Got Talent to prank the judges. He was dressed as a rabbi, as a rapping rabbi, and he performed this song that was kind of like very pandering. It's like exactly like what the producers would kind of want, like praising the show. And this was kind of like a different version of that act where I was like, is this serious so much? Because it just seemed he sings the song and it's kind of just. I'm trying to think of a better word to say of this than the one that I'm thinking of, which is inappropriate, but it's kind of like a overly praising of the show, and it's exactly what the producers would want, and it just seems like pandering to me.
I thought it was pretty lame, honestly, the song. It's the word I would use.
Everybody backstage, please don't be scared, because up close, Simon looks just like a teddy bear.
He's got charisma, I'll say that. He's got a lot of charisma. I wasn't blown away. And therefore, I'm not surprised in the least that Howie used the Golden Buzzer. Because Howie lives to disappoint.
Howie, if there is a judge that would press their buzzer for this, there is no better person than Howie Mandel.
Because he lives to disappoint us all.
Which is ironic because, Eric, I would have said no to this act.
I probably would have as well, honestly.
But, Golden Buzzer acts, they always have something about them that kind of usually makes them go one or two more rounds further than what they're usually expected. So I'm fully expecting him to make at least semifinals.
Yeah, agreed.
But it does kind of lead me to this thread that I noticed on Reddit that was getting a bit of attention. Someone wrote on the page, America's Got Talent is just a thinly veiled American Idol now. Singers with stories take priority. And all the comments are basically, yeah, of course, this is nothing new. Like, this is what America's Got Talent has always been. It's always, if you're a singer, you are consistently going to be getting, I don't know, you get priority is what I can say. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's just how it is. Like, if you're just making that discovery now,
But if you look at the winners from the past couple of years, very few of them are singers. So
that is true. Great. Well, there was Grace, Darcy, but then there was also
Darcy's hard to count as a singer.
All right. Well, I enjoyed this episode, but I don't think it was the best. The real takeaway for me are those three contestants: Benicio, the comedian, and Light Balance Kids. And otherwise, this episode was kind of a mess for me.
I wouldn't go that far, but those three were really good.
All right. Well, do you have any final thoughts on this episode? Any other things you kind of want to talk about?
Not particularly, honestly. I liked it.
Yeah. 7 episodes though. All right. Well, otherwise, I guess we'll wrap it up. I want to say my name is Adam Samuel. You can find me on Twitter at Adam Soapbox or in my 2 websites, adamsoapbox.com and adamcvblog.com. I have been working all day on a new post for adamsoapbox.com. I was actually working on it all day. So hopefully I'll get it online soon. And where can we find you, Eric?
EricAscher.com, EricAscher01 on YouTube, Eric_Ascher on Twitter. And yep, check out, I'm going to plug the 2 posts that I wrote about America's Got Talent last weekend this week, because one of the first one from last week is actually featured on Yahoo News right now, which is pretty fun. So
I actually typed in the contestant's name. There's so many names. I'm so sorry. Yeah, and funny story. I Googled Cody Lee's name because I was reading, and one of the first articles was your article, and I didn't realize it was your article. And as I was reading it, I was like, wow, this guy's like kind of making the exact same points Eric made. And then I was like, I should send this. Like, this is weird. And then I realized, I was like, oh.
yeah.
But I think, honestly, at this point, Cody Lee is still probably the favorite. His video is now 25 million views, which is getting pretty big.
Yep.
How many did Alejandro's audition get on American Idol?
I don't know. Not that many, I don't think.
All right. Well, otherwise, housekeeping notes, I guess. We are going to be live next week. We're not going to be live. We film ahead of time. I'm going to be in LA, so we will be filming at a much more normal hour. But otherwise, Eric, thank you so much for joining me for this episode.
No problem.
All right, guys. I guess we'll see you next time. Peace.